This is Real Talk, the Customer Insights Show with Jenn Vogel. Join Jenn and her guests for this live discussion around topics that will help you understand your customers better. Also available on podcast channels. This live stream is presented to you by Voxpopme, the leader in video research. Here's today's live conversation.
Hello, insights professionals, marketers, and everyone who wants to understand your customers better. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Real Talk, the Customer Insights Show. We're live on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, and the podcast version will be available on your favorite podcast channels soon. Hearing from our customers also means we understand the health of our relationships with them. So who wants to be in a toxic relationship? No one. Hopefully none of your customer relationships ever go from love to toxic, but what if it goes from love to the friend zone? Let's have a real talk today about customer health. I'm excited to chat about this with Braden Johnstone, our SVP of Customer Success at Voxpopme, where he builds lasting business relationships with our customers. Welcome, Braden.
Super. Thanks for that intro, and excited to be here. I feel like you and I get to have these powwows regularly, but never live. So what a great chat in a new environment. So thanks for the invitation.
New environment, so everybody's being welcomed into our private conversations. This will be
scary. It's really scary.
I know, right? We'll try to keep it clean for everybody out there, so we don't get a parental advisory on our podcast. So no swearing. Well, I'm really excited to have you on today and to talk a little bit about customer health. And I want to hear from you, when we talk about customer health, like what does that mean to you? How do you define customer health?
Yeah, cool. First off, it is a topic that I love. So it is really near and dear to me. So I'm happy to have a chance to talk about it. At the simplest of levels, like customer health is just simply trying to understand the state of your relationship. I could go back and I think about the progression in terms of our industries have gone through. 20 years ago when I started in this space, what this might look like and customer health might look very different than it does today for us. Specifically, you think about the transactional nature of maybe working in a service business. I worked in market research for the last 20 years and working for the supply side. Our interactions with our customers tend to be very transactional. So there was always that initial scoping of work, proposal, commissioning to execution, and then hopefully at the end there'd be some feedback like you did a job well done, or maybe things didn't go as smoothly. So you constantly had that feedback. You would have two really key indicators. One, clients would probably generally put direct feedback in terms of their experience in that work that you were doing. Or two, you also had sales pipeline. So those are two really clear indicators that you're always getting feedback on. And because they were always doing work with you, potentially you're always getting that feedback. Or where we live today, and much of the industry has moved to, Voxpopme, are a subscription model. And so that life cycle looks entirely different. So from start of our engagement to the end of term, sometimes it's 12 months, and a lot can happen in 12 months. So it's just imperative that over that period of time, we have some type of mechanisms to allow us to be able to listen and to understand the state of that relationship. And so now there are things that we learn that are within our control, but there's also things that are completely outside of our control. So within our control at the simplest of levels is, are our customers getting what they wanted to get out of their investment? Things that aren't within our control, things like corporate restructures and budget losses and pandemics. I mean, think about the last 12 months. Like if you were in food services, these industries were decimated, and they've gone through really tough times. So when you think about us on customer success and wanting to understand what customer health is, those types of factors are really important to us. I think your other question was like, how do you define it? And I'd like to say there is like a secret sauce, and there are best practices out there that give some guidance in terms of how customer health is measured. But it needs to be unique to your business, and it has to be unique to your customers as well. So, for us, what was really important is that customer health was something that we could measure, and we can measure like in real time without a ton of effort. Meaning like it shouldn't require a Herculean effort on the team or on processes to be able to pull customer health together. it needs to be something that we can get access to and get access to quite regularly. So that was really, really important to us. So it's about having the right listening tools in place that allowed us to kind of always survey the landscape of our customers. So that was really important. And then obviously it being in real time was really, really, really important to us too.
There's a lot there. There's so much I want to dig into on that, because I related to what you were talking about of, over the last 20 years in the industry, and it's being so transactional. And I think I felt like over the years, even those transactional experiences, even those like kind of non-subscription model experiences, there grew an expectation for more of a consultative type of engagement with customers, even though it was still transactional. And I think that expectation continues to grow in the industry of like the companies that our customers are partnering with, whether it's us in a subscription model or others in a more transactional model. There's an expectation that there is this like relationship where you're my partner and you're going to help me figure this stuff out on a day-to-day.
It's still so important. That part has not been lost at all. As our tools have changed, still the dependency on experts and expertise in the space becomes absolutely critical. And I would say is really true for us as well, because one of the things that I think is unique to us is that our technology in many ways is not a direct replacement to alternatives out there. It is completely new way of gathering qualitative feedback and insights. And because of that, there is a need for our direct help and to be able to guide and provide clarity and guidance on best practices and ways in which they can really maximize tools like ours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really crucial also what you said there at the end about, it needs to be something that can be measured. However you're measuring it, it might be different business by business, but like it needs to be something you can measure. And I can relate to that just on the marketing side of things. Like you can measure anything. You just have to pick the KPI, you can even measure the unmeasurable. And so I feel like that's really important. So like for us, what measurements and strategies do we use to understand our customer health?
Yeah, sure. So I was saying, there is a lot of ways to do it. And because we were so determined to introduce something that would give us something that would be repeatable and measurable without a ton of work, we started looking at things like activity. So how frequently are our customers engaging with the tool? And we measure that usage or engagement against a perceived plan or desired outcome. So it's always being assessed in time, like based off of the state of that engagement, whether they're within their first month of working with us, whether they're in year 2. We always know where we would expect them to be based off of their life cycle. Mm-hmm. And so that gives us an ability to, directionally understand if our customers are engaging and utilizing our tools at the right cadence effectively. No, it's not. It's not in itself. It's not a complete slam dunk. I mentioned I use the word directional because it does give us a directional indicator. The idea is that it gives us ability to see if we think customers are going way above plan and are just crushing it, or maybe falling a little bit short, and for us to then utilize that information to explore deeper. So, that may involve us drilling down a little bit more closely to understand, well, if they're not engaging and utilizing the tool as frequently as they thought, what is the reason for that? Is it maybe there's not enough users that are engaging the tool? Maybe we have one person or two people that are really adopted it, but beyond that, maybe it doesn't run so deep. So that creates visibility into potential vulnerability. Or maybe there's been an increase of technical support requests lately that are highlighting maybe some trouble they're having with maybe a feature or the use of the tool. And then there's other things that we look at, like NPS or customer satisfaction. We do rely on this, and we're so thankful for our customers to provide feedback because we too, it's really kind of a funny spot that we're in. And I always for the last how many years they've been running NPS like surveys, and it always kind of is a challenge to get market researchers to participate in research, and I can appreciate it. Like I myself live in surveys all day long. It's getting one, taking myself, but it is something that's so valuable to our business. And so as our clients provide their feedback, it gives us something to latch onto and respond to. So that is something that is a way we measure. And then I would say the last one is there's a subjective assessment. Like, we have an awesome team here across the board, from customer success to project management to sales and product, you name it. There is so many cues and indicators that come forward, whether it's through direct interactions and talking with customers, through support, and et cetera, that give us indications of customer state and health. And so we always have to be listening to that as well. As I mentioned, we have metrics that allow us to get actionable insights and directional insights quickly, but we have the expertise of people to help interpret those and shape those into action.
That's awesome. And so there's quite a nice balance there of like measuring what people are actually doing with what they're saying, with what we're seeing, to kind of get a very well-rounded view. But, that is a lot to look at. Are we looking at that in aggregate? Like, are we looking at it drilling down to each individual customer? Like, how do you scale a program like that if, we kind of do need to dig into individual?
100%. Well, you hope that with active listening and responding to that, you are able to manage the majority to a state of what you feel are in strong or good health. And that gives you an ability to focus in on maybe the areas that really require additional time and attention. It does. The work really does start once you've identified that maybe there's a problem. And that work doesn't, that indicator, that data may be telling you something that you feel pretty confident about, but until you sit down and start talking to a customer, really understanding what the barriers are, it's really hard to really start actioning and solutioning anything. And that becomes work that falls to the team. Obviously, we try to make it as repeatable as possible. So if we can support if we can identify a core theme that is a problem that many of our customers potentially have faced, then the solution becomes hopefully pretty clear because we've resolved that conflict before. And so it becomes a repeatable exercise through playbooks that are designed to drive maybe more engagement with new users that have not been exposed or adopted the tool, or highlighting the benefits that, or through inspiration and case studies that maybe other exploratory areas that our clients aren't thinking about. And so we try to obviously make it as repeatable as possible so that we can make sure that we're not obviously devoting all our time and attention towards resolving some of these challenges.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so, if we kind of have a good motion to take a look at, customers that might be vulnerable and, focus on them. And I love that there's, repeatable playbooks. We've seen a customer in the past have this similar challenge. We know how to solve that for them. That just makes it more efficient for us and for the customer. I'm sure, they really appreciate having that. And, so like, that's kind of looking at the ones that are vulnerable and the customers that might need a little additional support. And obviously we don't want toxic relationships or challenging relationships, but what does it look like to be in a good state of customer health?
Yeah, totally. Well, I'll just point out too, like if you've reached a state of toxicity, there's a good chance you're not listening to customer health. The whole idea of customer health is to avoid toxic relationships. So totally. I'll just say we recognize that if we've got to that point, we clearly have fallen down somewhere along the way.
There's probably red flags early on.
All over the place. But nonetheless, like I do, like it's funny because we talk about the challenge with maybe an unhappy customer, and I'll just point out really quickly because this is something that we really preach really well. Is it's these challenges our customers face are massive opportunities for us. Opportunities for us to help our customers overcome some of the challenges, whether it's within their own businesses or also their own business utilizing our tool. And so if we can help navigate those problems on the other side, we hopefully can be that much closer to the customer. There is so much relationship to what we do. It's not all transactional. It's all not metric driven. It is people driven, so much of it. And so if we can really use this to kind of help support conversation so we hear the problems and then find resolution, we can really become the hero for our customers at the end of the day. And that goes far for going beyond potentially a toxic relationship, and hopefully building what we'd like to get our clients to is strong advocates. But to your point about what is ideal state, like for us, it's like, are they using the tool way more than they had ever even anticipated? Like that's one that's for us is like an ideal state. Are they functioning almost like 100% autonomously? Like, do they not depend on us to be able to get what they need and want out of the platform? Are they promoting those capabilities across business units? They're finding so much success with it that they're introducing the capabilities to peers and colleagues and sharing those out within the organization. And then, we love them. Like we are so fortunate, better than anybody, but we have a lot of those customers that are so outspoken about the capabilities that they want to work with us. They want to join Real Talk or, invest in marketing talk and case studies. And those would be really obvious indicators for us that customers are in really good health. They're utilizing the tool. They're doing it autonomously. They're promoting the capabilities internally, and they're working with our marketing to kind of help us and help them just further the messaging and the capabilities of our solution. So like that, I would say you could have a healthy customer and maybe check 3 of those boxes, but you hit all 4, you're doing really well.
Yeah. Having people who are willing to talk about good experiences. So I'll share, this is in my marketing 101 class in college. I won't say how many years ago, but I'll never forget. We learned that like if somebody has a positive experience, they share that with 3 people. This is with any kind of consumer brand or shopping experience or travel. You have a good experience, you share that with 3 people. You have a bad experience, you share that with 11 people. Yeah. So, few of us actually like go out of our way to promote those good experiences. It's got to be like that stellar. Yeah. It's meeting all my needs. I'm getting everything I needed out of it from a value perspective. So I totally agree. When we've got people who, we're working so closely with and are wanting to talk more about the work that we're doing together, that we're partnering on, it's really exciting because just from your own experience of how often do you share the tools that you work with, or it's exciting.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, I can't agree with you more. 100%.
Yeah. It's like all the more reason to prevent bad experiences, because they're more so going to share those than they are the good 100%. Ones. So.
Yeah. It's just funny about that too. I think we see that too as we advise our own customers. I think it's quite clear in measuring customer experience that you tend to get the ends of the spectrum, like like the strong advocates or the strong detractors, and it's oftentimes the middle of the road that kind of gets lost because they're not as outspoken. They usually want to talk about how good the experience or how bad the experience was.
Right.
Let's make more good experiences for sure.
For sure. Yeah. You rarely get it was fine. People don't tend to go out of their way to give that feedback, but
I don't remember the last time I took a survey myself and I said it was fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's usually either end of the spectrum for sure. So I guess to that point, like how often should we be checking in on customer health? Sure. Or should any company be checking in on customer health?
Sure. As I said, I think it's really important to have an always listening approach. Nonetheless, is that there needs to be a lot more concerted effort towards diving deeper into understanding the other maybe outside variables that are influencing that. And that can't be done in real time all the time because it does require time and attention, and probably also some discovery and conversations with customers. So usually what we try to do is we are always actively listening to specific indicators. And if the indicators are showing sharply in either direction, then it's an indication for us to take action. And we meet as a team every single week. Monthly, we generally review and do a close audit in terms of how we are doing on these specific metrics. And if there is any major swing from any of our customers, then there is a very clear course of action that comes of it. And we do even more granular deep dives on a quarterly basis. We find change is hard to realize over 30 days. Everything's so fast moving. Nonetheless, realizing the change that we're trying to realize can't always be done in a short amount of time. And so we do have quarterly outlooks. And so as a business unit, we look at each quarter, how's the state of our customers doing across each of our customer success managers, and identifying customers that we feel are emphasizing all the characteristics that we want to see, and customers that are emphasizing maybe the characteristics we want to see improved. And those that we feel need to be improved, then we work collectively as a group to try to action based off of what we think to be some of the challenges are. And none of it can be done without collaboration with customers. It does require some involvement. The hardest thing for us is getting into those conversations and go, hey, we just want to help us understand maybe why, you're not engaging in the way we originally thought you set out to do in the very beginning. And the response, oh no, everything's fine, everything's great. And we do hear that sometimes, right? And really, because it's been 120 days since you logged into the platform, like maybe there's something. So like those tend to be a little bit harder conversations, and there's maybe so many other challenges that our clients are facing. Like one thing that we constantly see is our customers have so many tools to choose from, and like making sure they always have the right ones at the right time. And so helping them help realize the best fit for what Voxpopme can do. Is something that we're always trying to do. And so, those ongoing internal touch points and then also discussions with the customers allows us to kind of take action appropriately. Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, it's really like welcome to the show, my dog Henrik. I knew that was going to happen today. Hopefully it doesn't wake up your dog, Braden. We'll just have a dog show.
He's doing good so far.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, a lot of what we do internally is exactly what we are recommending to our customers in terms of frequency. It's like there's an always on program for certain indicators. There's things that we do weekly, things we do monthly, things we do quarterly, or like for different purposes, like measuring different objectives. And so we can constantly be staying close to our customers and how important it is to be able to, I think I'm aware of that in some ways, but just as we're having this conversation, I'm like, this is, we do internally exactly what we recommend that our customers do. And I'm finding just a lot of appreciation for our customers. We do ask for a lot in terms of feedback. It's like, please answer our surveys and please join our interviews with our product team and our product marketing team. And our customers are so great and co-collaborating with us. And I'm so grateful.
They are. Yeah, we are I'm very thankful. We have a great group of customers that are equally invested in the success of our tool as we are. And so that certainly helps. It feels like we're working in partnership, as you started this conversation off with, right?
Yeah, completely. All right. Well, so I guess looking at like all of that measurement that we're doing along the way, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what do you recommend in terms of follow-up once, you kind of understand that state of health? You started to talk a little bit about that tough conversation, like, hey, it's not looking like you're using it the way you intended. Like, I guess what are the different ways in which we follow up when we get those results?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like I mentioned, like it really starts by first off validating our hypothesis, and that's goes with some level of discovery. It's just some open-ended questions, just to say like, hey, tell us a little bit about some of the things that are going on in your business. Help us understand what impact the Voxpopme tool is having. Is it achieving those initial outcomes that we had desired? And if not, then it's about like, what is it that's impeding that? Oftentimes we go into it with some preconceived notions. As we said, we do have a lot of indicators already on our side that tell us, is it not utilizing the right features? Is it breadth of usage? Maybe not enough people that are exposed and using the tool. Are they not using our best and core use cases? Those things may be in things that we already know going into that conversation. So we may have an idea of it, but we have to kind of come to an agreement. And I think it's for us to be clear in terms of the direction we're going. We collectively have to agree on the problems that we're trying to solve, right? It can't be done. Like it's really difficult to be done to do independently. Like we can try to overcome some of those obstacles, but if our clients don't necessarily buy into those being the challenges, then we're not working towards the same common goals. We have to be able to align in terms of what it is that is maybe impeding or not progressing our getting to that desired outcome we talked about.
Mhm.
So that's first and foremost. It's fundamental that we actually have to come to that conclusion. From there, it becomes about how do we action it. And as I mentioned, there are things that maybe are a little bit more prescriptive, but each customer need oftentimes tends to be unique, and so we have to think about what it is that they're specifically trying to overcome, and with our tool, so that we can suggest and shape action that will specifically address those things. And we'll point out is really important is to really get the customer back to what we perceive to be good health. It's more than just recognizing and like, okay, these are maybe the challenges and this is how we overcome it. It's actually getting closure. It's like the final and most important piece. Like, it is so imperative that if we come together and say, okay, this is the things that we're going to do to address these concerns or these challenges, we're going to action these over the course of the next 5-6 weeks, and hopefully maybe it's a shared investment. Both sides are invested in making change, but we are actually coming back and then reconciling and going, hey, these are the things we talked about. These are the things we agreed on. This is the progress we've made. How have these addressed those concerns? And did this free us up so that we can achieve what we intended on achieving in the remaining 6 months that we have? That's the most important part. And it's something that our team kind of really embodies. We stress on. It's one thing to hear the problem, it's another to action the problem. Until you get closure that the problem has been addressed, like the problem is still out there. And so that closure is the most critical aspect. And so once you've actioned that, like, you hope to see, you measure change over time, and you would have new behaviors you would start to see on the heels of that. But if they don't, then it becomes a rinse and repeat. It becomes, okay, well, maybe that didn't address the problems that we thought were there. Like, let's revisit and let's kind of reaction. What are we going to do now? So it is a continual motion if it comes to that. But we really hope that we can have constructive conversations from the start, and we can agree to what it is that we want to do to overcome, and then we can help solution that. Our team is super resourceful, so if they hear there's a problem, they're like, okay, I'm going to do whatever I possibly can to try to solve that problem. Sometimes they have to say, I'm like, that's not even on us. Like, I can't control their budget, or whatever it may be. But they, as soon as they hear there's a problem or something that potentially is impeding, like, they really want to make sure that they're removing that blockage. And so there's a inherent desire and on our side to make sure that we can help our clients through this, because we do feel like there's so much in what it is that we're doing. Like, we all buy in. Like, I don't have to sell you here, but we all buy in what Voxpopme is doing, and super excited about how transformational it's been for some, and we really want to help our clients make that real.
Yeah. And I think what you just said was like the biggest aha for me, that this is all of the things that we're measuring or that we're monitoring or we're getting feedback on is all designed to help our customers reach their goals. Those are not our goals. Those are like what needs to happen to know that our customers are getting what they intended to get out of it. And I think that's the biggest key, right? Is like it being about them and what they need to achieve. And that if there's something that's not working, that our customers aren't quite getting what they need, that we have ways to identify that and fix that.
I couldn't said it better.
Well, you did say it better. I'm just repeating what you said, but I think that's the biggest, I think in all these kind of conversations that we have about understanding customers and working with customers, there are a lot of businesses out there that are it's much easier to focus on what's important to us as a business, right? That's the easy thing to look at. But to align what's important to us with helping our customers achieve their goals, that's a totally different scenario.
Sure is.
And it is very different customer by customer, but finding that common ground and creating those playbooks that help our customers to over and over again, meet their goals. That's really exciting. But like we said before, we're very lucky. We've got some amazing customers who are willing to take that ride with us. So it's a lot of fun.
That they are.
Awesome. Well, this has been super fun. Thanks everybody for listening to our little normally Friday conversations. We said this before, we're going to have a chat on a Monday and we're going to think it's going to be Friday.
I know. But so thrown off right now.
I know. We're going to have another
right now. Yeah.
Maybe we'll take the rest of the week off. But yeah, thanks for having this chat with me today, Braden. It's been awesome.
My pleasure.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Don't forget to rate and review our show wherever you listen to podcasts. Next week, I'm joined by Melina Palmer to discuss her new book, What Your Customer Wants and Can't Tell You. See you then.